There comes a moment in every life when the noise of the world fades and you're left standing face to face with yourself. No titles, no applause, no expectations, just you. And in that quiet space, you discover a truth most people spend their whole lives running from. Your future is being shaped by the choices you make long before anyone sees the results. Mastering the fundamentals of life and success isn't about grand gestures or sudden breakthroughs. It's about learning to stand still, to listen, to discipline your mind, and to take ownership of the path ahead. The journey begins not when the world believes in you, but when you finally decide to believe in yourself. Discipline, the silent architect of your future. Discipline is not loud, dramatic, or glamorous. It doesn't announce itself or demand recognition. It operates quietly, often unnoticed, while steadily building the structure of your future, brick by brick, choice by choice. People often search for life-changing moments, waiting for inspiration or motivation to come like a sudden storm, hoping it will push them toward greatness. But the truth is far simpler and far more profound. The direction of your life is shaped not by rare moments of passion, but by the consistent habits you commit to when no one is watching. Discipline is the foundation upon which all success stands, because it teaches you to act with intention rather than impulse. In the early stages, discipline feels uncomfortable because it asks you to break away from familiar patterns. It asks you to wake up earlier, to stay focused longer, to push through the days when your emotions tell you to take the easier path. It demands honesty with yourself, the kind of honesty that forces you to confront your weaknesses, your distractions, and the excuses you've rehearsed over the years. But it is in this gentle confrontation that growth begins. When you stop negotiating with your limitations and start honoring your commitments, you discover a strength within you that has always been waiting to be used. Discipline is not about being rigid or harsh with yourself. It's about understanding that every action you take is an investment in who you are becoming. When you choose discipline, you are choosing to be the author of your own life, rather than a follower of circumstances. You are choosing clarity over chaos, progress over comfort, and purpose over distraction. The small decisions, reading a few pages instead of scrolling endlessly, practicing a skill instead of procrastinating, preparing for tomorrow instead of hoping for luck, seem insignificant in the moment. But over time, they compound into a level of growth that feels almost effortless in hindsight. There will be days when discipline feels heavy, when the weight of responsibility seems too much to carry, but those are the days that matter most. Success is not created on the days when everything feels easy. It is forged on the days when you continue moving forward even when you feel like stopping. Discipline strengthens your resilience. It teaches you that you are capable of far more than you once believed, and that consistency, no matter how small, creates a momentum that will eventually shape your destiny. What people call luck is often the result of years of disciplined action. What they call talent is usually the product of disciplined practice. And what they call overnight success is almost always built on a foundation of countless disciplined choices made in the dark long before anyone noticed. When you embrace discipline, you aren't restricting your life, you're unlocking it. You're handing yourself the tools to build the future you've imagined, not through chance, but through the quiet, unwavering commitment to becoming better every single day. Self-honesty, the gateway to growth. Self-honesty is one of the rarest and most transformative qualities a person can develop. It is easy to look outward, toward circumstances, toward other people, toward excuses. But the real turning point in life comes when you finally turn inward and tell yourself the truth. Not the softened truth you offer to ease discomfort, not the convenient truth that keeps you still, but the raw, unfiltered truth that reveals who you are, what you've allowed, and what you must become. This kind of honesty is not meant to punish you. It is meant to free you. It removes the fog of denial and replaces it with clarity, the kind of clarity that allows you to build a life based on reality rather than illusion. The reason self-honesty is powerful is because it eliminates the gap between your intentions and your actions. Many people have dreams, but their daily behavior contradicts what they claim to want. They say they want growth, yet cling to habits that hold them back. They say they want change, yet avoid the discomfort required to create it. When you practice self-honesty, you close this gap. You admit where you've been inconsistent. You acknowledge where fear has made decisions for you. You recognize where you've settled, where you've drifted, and where you've hidden behind excuses. This acknowledgement is not a sign of weakness. It is the beginning of strength. You cannot change what you will not confront. Self-honesty also requires the courage to examine your motives. Why do you pursue certain goals? Are they truly your own, or were they inherited from the expectations of others? Are you moving toward a purpose that resonates with your soul, or merely chasing validation, approval, or distraction? When you answer these questions truthfully, you gain control over the direction of your life. You stop living on autopilot and begin living with intention. You become more aligned, more focused, and more authentic in your decisions. Yet self-honesty is not just about recognizing your flaws. It is also about acknowledging your potential. Many people underestimate themselves not because they lack ability, but because they refuse to admit how capable they truly are. It feels safer to stay small, to tell yourself you're not ready, to insist that life is too complicated. But when you look in the mirror with honesty, you also see your strength, your resilience, and your capacity to rise beyond what you once thought possible. You see the opportunities you've ignored, the talents you've neglected, and the dreams you've postponed. you realize that your life is not limited by what you can do, but by what you're willing to admit you can do. The practice of self-honesty transforms you because it aligns you with reality, your reality. No more pretending, no more hiding, no more delaying. Once you embrace truth, growth becomes inevitable. You begin to live with purpose instead of confusion, with direction instead of doubt. In this clarity, your next steps become obvious. You become stronger, more grounded, and more empowered. And in that space of truth, your potential finally has room to breathe, expand, and transform your life from the inside out. Mastery through patience, not pressure. Mastery is not born from sudden breakthroughs or dramatic bursts of motivation. It is the product of patience, steady, consistent, and often quiet patience. In a world that glorifies speed, instant results, and overnight success stories, patience becomes one of the rarest and most valuable skills you can cultivate. True mastery, whether in life, career, or personal growth, unfolds slowly, like a sunrise that gradually illuminates the landscape. It does not rush, and it does not force. It reveals itself only to those who remain steadfast in their commitment, even when progress seems invisible. Patience teaches you that growth isn't measured by how quickly you move, but by how deeply you understand, how consistently you show up, and how gracefully you navigate the challenges along the way. When you pursue mastery with impatience, you create pressure that works against you. You set unrealistic expectations for yourself, compare your journey to others, and chase shortcuts that only lead to frustration. You start to believe that if something doesn't come easily, it isn't meant for you. But the truth is that everything meaningful requires time. Patience is not passive, it is active endurance. It is the discipline to keep moving forward at the pace that life allows, trusting that effort compounds even when you cannot yet see the results. This trust becomes a powerful force, one that keeps you grounded and prevents you from abandoning your path too soon. Patience also teaches you the value of repetition. Mastery is built through practice, and practice requires a willingness to repeat the same fundamentals until they become part of your identity. Just as an artist sketches countless lines before creating a masterpiece, or a musician plays scales long before performing on a stage, you must commit to the basic steps that form the foundation of excellence. Repetition may feel ordinary, even dull at times, but it sharpens your skill, strengthens your confidence, and prepares you for the moments when precision and excellence truly matter. With patience, repetition becomes not a burden, but a rhythm, a steady beat, pushing you closer to your potential. Equally important, patience helps you navigate setbacks. On the path to mastery, you will encounter challenges, mistakes, and moments of doubt. These are not signs that you're failing, they are essential parts of the process. Pressure makes you fear mistakes, but patience allows you to learn from them. It reminds you that every step backward is an invitation to come back stronger, wiser, and more capable. Instead of rushing to the finish line, patience encourages you to absorb every lesson, to examine your weaknesses without judgment, and to grow at your natural pace. This mindset turns obstacles into teachers and setbacks into stepping stones. Ultimately, patience liberates you from the illusion that success must happen fast. It shifts your focus from results to growth, from speed to depth, from urgency to purpose. When you embrace patience, you begin to see mastery not as a destination, but as a lifelong practice. You give yourself permission to evolve, to improve, and to flourish in your own time. And in doing so, you create a journey that is not only more meaningful, but also more sustainable. Patience doesn't slow your progress, it strengthens it. It builds character, resilience, and clarity. And through that steady, unwavering commitment, mastery becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Mindset, the compass that shapes your direction. Your mindset is the invisible compass, guiding every step you take, every choice you make, and every path you create. It influences how you view the world, how you respond to challenges, and how you interpret your own potential. What you choose to believe internally eventually becomes what you experience externally. A strong, clear, empowered mindset does not eliminate obstacles, but it changes the way you approach them. Instead of seeing barriers, you begin to see possibilities. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by uncertainty, you learn to navigate it with confidence. Mindset is not just a concept, it is the driver of your direction, the quiet force behind every meaningful decision and every significant transformation in your life. A powerful mindset begins with awareness. Most of the thoughts that shape your life operate silently in the background, guiding your emotions and habits without you even noticing. Over time, these thoughts form patterns, and those patterns become belief systems. If you repeatedly feed your mind doubt, fear, or negativity, you unconsciously build a reality that mirrors those thoughts. You hesitate, you shrink, and you accept less than what you're capable of. But when you learn to recognize these patterns and shift them intentionally, everything changes. You start choosing thoughts that empower instead of weaken, thoughts that expand instead of limit. Awareness becomes the first step toward true mental transformation. Your mindset also determines how you handle adversity. Life will present difficulties, unexpected challenges, failures, and moments where nothing seems to go your way. A fixed mindset sees these moments as signs to stop, to quit, or to believe that something is wrong. But a growth-oriented mindset sees them as invitations to evolve. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What is this teaching me?" That small shift in perspective becomes a powerful source of strength. You understand that setbacks are not reflections of your worth, but opportunities to develop resilience, strategy, and patience. With the right mindset, adversity becomes fuel, not fear. Equally important is the role of gratitude and perspective. When you learn to appreciate the progress you've made, no matter how small, you reinforce a mindset of sufficiency instead of scarcity. Gratitude keeps you grounded, present, and focused on possibility rather than lack. It reminds you that growth is a journey and that every step forward, even the quiet ones, contributes to your success. Perspective, on the other hand, helps you see beyond temporary frustrations. It allows you to hold a long-term vision, understanding that the challenges of today often produce the strengths you need for tomorrow. Together, gratitude and perspective shape a mindset that is calm, balanced, and deeply resilient. Your environment also influences your mindset. The people you listen to, the content you consume, and the conversations you entertain all feed your inner world. Surround yourself with negativity and your mindset will reflect it. Surround yourself with inspiration, discipline, and purpose, and your mindset will expand to match it. This doesn't mean avoiding every difficulty. It means intentionally choosing what you allow to shape your thoughts and beliefs. Protecting your mindset is not selfish. It is necessary for growth and clarity. A strong mindset does not guarantee an easy life, but it guarantees a strong one. It gives you direction when you feel lost, courage when you feel uncertain, and determination when you feel tired. It transforms challenges into lessons, fear into action, and doubt into possibility. When you train your mind to think clearly, positively, and purposefully, you don't just change your life. You change the way you live it. Your mindset becomes the compass that guides you toward the future you are meant to build. Courage in quiet moments, the strength that shapes your path. Courage is often portrayed as something loud, grand gestures, bold declarations, or dramatic leaps into the unknown. But the most profound form of courage rarely announces itself. It emerges in quiet moments, in the private battles no one else sees, in the decisions you make when the world is not watching. This quiet courage is the kind that truly shapes your life. It is the strength to continue when you feel uncertain, the resolve to stand up for your values, and the determination to grow even when the process feels uncomfortable. It is not built on applause or recognition. It is born from a deep commitment to becoming the person you know you can be. Quiet courage begins with the willingness to face yourself. There are moments when fear creeps in, not the dramatic kind, but the subtle fear of change, responsibility, or failure. It whispers reasons to stay where you are, to avoid risk, to remain comfortable. But courage responds with honesty, reminding you that staying still will cost far more than moving forward. It urges you to take the small steps that your future self will be grateful for. This inward bravery is not about eliminating fear, it's about walking with it, understanding that growth always requires stepping beyond what is familiar. One of the purest expressions of quiet courage is persistence. Success is rarely a straight path. It is filled with moments of doubt, obstacles that test your patience, and times when progress seems invisible. In these moments, loud motivation often fades, but quiet courage remains. It is the voice that says, "Try again." It is the strength that pulls you out of discouragement and the resilience that keeps you grounded. Persistence doesn't guarantee instant results, but it guarantees movement, and movement is what keeps your dreams alive. Every time you choose persistence over giving up, you affirm your own strength and build momentum toward mastery. Another dimension of quiet courage is vulnerability. It takes tremendous strength to admit that you don't have all the answers, to seek help when needed, and to open yourself to new experiences without knowing the outcome. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the gateway to learning, connection, and authenticity. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you release the pressure to be perfect and instead embrace the courage to be real. This honesty creates space for growth, deeper relationships, and greater self-awareness. It builds character in a way that surface-level confidence never can. Quiet courage also manifests in the decisions you make each day. Choosing integrity when no one is watching, choosing love over bitterness, choosing discipline over ease. These are acts of courage that shape your character and influence your destiny. They do not require fanfare or recognition, they require commitment. The world measures courage by visibility, but real courage is measured by consistency. The person who chooses growth daily, even in the smallest ways, is far braver than the one who only acts boldly when others are looking. Ultimately, quiet courage transforms you because it teaches you to trust yourself. It strengthens your belief that you can overcome challenges, adapt to change, and create a meaningful life. It reminds you that your journey is not defined by dramatic moments, but by the everyday choices that move you closer to your purpose. When you embrace courage in these silent spaces, you reclaim your power. You realize that strength is not found in noise, but in determination, not in spectacle, but in sincerity. And through that quiet courage, you build a life that reflects your true potential, steadily, authentically, and fearlessly.